What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric and my YouTube and collector name is Nifty Sports. We have an extra special episode for you today. Most of you probably know this guy, but if you don't, Top Shot Talk, or TST, was one of the first ever YouTube creators on NBA Top Shot. He recently celebrated his 1-year anniversary on the channel shortly before I celebrated my 1 year as a collector. I started watching his YouTube videos back in the day, and over the past few months, we've started chatting it up, and I thought it was the perfect time to bring him on. So in this episode, we're gonna dig into his journey on NBA Top Shot. Him and I are gonna talk about 1 year of being collectors and creators. We also talk about the future and what we're excited about, as well as what we're collecting now. TST, thank you so much for coming on. All of you out there, make sure to check out his channel. I hope to do more of these in the very near future. So if you have any ideas of who you want to see come on and talk about their NBA Top Shot journey, drop it down in the comment section below. Thank you for subscribing. I hope you enjoy. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode. We are super excited to have TST, Top Shot Talk, on the channel today. I'm super excited to have you here, TST. As you all probably already know him, he is a legend and an OG content creator on YouTube and an OG collector in Top Shot. I think one of the beautiful things about Top Shot, and the thing that I really love about it, is that each person has their own specific journey depending on how they collect, what team they love, what their budget is, when they got in. So we're going to talk about that here today. We're going to talk about some of the things that got us into Top Shot, how we started, and some of the pivotal moments for us as creators and as collectors. And then we're going to talk about the future, what excites us, what we're collecting, and have some fun with that too. So it is TST just had his 1 year anniversary on the channel. So a huge congratulations to him. And I just had my 1 year as a collector. I thought this was the perfect video and the perfect person to have on to kind of celebrate those two things. So welcome aboard, TST. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to chatting it up with you.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I mean, you and I have become, we've chatted a couple times, but prior to this video and just kind of getting acquainted off camera, was kind of our first in-person conversation. So just obviously so much in common with, being in Top Shot for a year now and creating content. I'm super excited to hash it out on the episode and see where this all takes us. So started off by telling us a little bit just when and how you got to hear about NBA Top Shot and what got you in.
So it was from the NBA Ringer podcast with Chris Vernon and Kevin O'Connor.
Okay.
And I think they talked about it twice but I'm not sure. It might have only been once, and that one time got me, but I'm pretty sure they had talked about it. And I kind of was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then they talked about it again. And it was Chris Vernon talking about, I think, when he purchased his Ja Morant moment or whatever. And I remember I was getting ready for work that day, and I was listening to the podcast while I got ready for work. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to check this out. And that's mid to late January or so. And I checked out the site, and at the time there's no packs available. Obviously it was the crazy times where it was stress tests or nothing. And I looked, and this is when Series 2 moments are all $1, $2, and I look. Whoa. And I know a pack drop is coming. That I think Cool Cats is coming soon, and I wanted to make sure that my information was already on it, so I already had my payment method there. So it was completely wild west. The pack drop would happen, and you're just mashing the button. If you refresh, you might screw things up. It was just there was no queue or anything like that, so it was just craziness. So I wanted to make sure my credit card was on there. So I purchased, I think it was a Fred VanVleet, or it was an OG for $2. Nice. And I remember buying that thing and then looking at the site and being like, I have paid the most for this moment than anyone else. I got ripped off. What the hell am I doing? That type of thing. Cause I'm not I'm very like I'm very careful with my money. I don't like investments isn't a big thing. I don't take risks at all.
Yeah.
So like this was a lot for me to be like doing this. And that is like maybe a positive and a negative, because like at that time I wasn't going around scooping up these dollar moments or anything. So I didn't take advantage of the boom, but
Yep.
also during the boom, I didn't get wrecked as much because I was like worried. I still like made some terrible purchases and bought
Sure.
things at the top and stuff like that, but I didn't like pump in tons of my own money being like, oh, this is going to be amazing. So I was kind of saved by just like my natural like risk tolerance to start with, not
Yeah.
because I had some foresight or anything like that, but just
Yeah.
for those reasons. But it also meant that I didn't like scoop up a bunch of moments and then sell them when they pumped. I like had that one, hit on a cool cats. And then I had just like some stress tests that I was hitting, and then like the boom was happening in February from that. But it was from that podcast that I got on, and then I have a bunch of friends, a bunch of basketball guys from university, and I I hit them up after, and because a lot of them are software developers as well. And I hit them up and I was like, yo, have you guys heard this? And then like my one friend's like, yeah, I signed up like 2 weeks ago. I was like, man, why didn't you tell me? I was so pissed that he didn't tell me about it. He
Yeah.
had like a nice little collection going, and he had some different stuff in it. But yeah, so that was how I got started as a collector on Top Shot.
That's crazy. So you got in mid-January before the boom off that podcast, right? So you got in before things went absolutely crazy. And that's honestly like I love this about Top Shot is that there's so much history behind it within the past year, right? Because I always like to say, when did you jump on the roller coaster, right? Like, did you jump on at the low part, the high part? Like, it all makes a difference. Like, you could, I got in off another podcast, but I got in because I heard, the record breaking LeBron sale. And I'm not even sure which exact podcast it was. After I listened to Club Top Shop's 1 year anniversary, I was like, you know what? It may have been the Lucky Trader. It may have been that one. So I got in off that. February 28th was when I created my account. I made my first purchase on March 1st. So at the worst time possible. So there's people that like kind of look at the accounts, right? And it's hard to piece together when you're first getting in. It's like, is this guy good at collecting or is he not good at collecting? Like, if you got in at a certain time, like being down 40% is actually really good.
Yeah.
Like,
and those are misleading too, right? Like
yeah,
any of our account evaluation type things, and when you say those like unrealized gains and all that, it's like the gifting factor, the fact that our pack purchases aren't included in that. So like mine looks amazing, but like my whole thing was that I rarely put money into the account to purchase moments.
Yeah.
But I never use Dapper to buy packs. So all
Interesting.
my pack costs are not included. So my like account looks way better than it is. But if I actually look through my credit card statements, there's a lot of pack purchases on there that you need to count in there. So that was kind of the way that I like controlled myself as well. It's like, okay, I really want this moment. Well, then I got to sell something to buy that. But like a pack comes up, boom. And then now I have those contents to play with. So that was like how I, again, it had to do with the fact that like, I'm not a risk taker. So I wasn't just, throwing a moment on the credit card as much. I did. Don't get me wrong. I have put money in at different times to make different purchases, but the majority of my input was the packs, which doesn't show in my account evaluation. So it looks a lot better than it is. And I have to remind myself that, I think too.
Yeah.
And I should probably go through, the past year and maybe give myself a more realistic outlook on my own account.
Oh yeah, man. I know. I feel you. I mean, I used to do that too. I used to buy packs with cards and never did packs with Dapper, but I've just started doing packs with Dapper a little bit more recently. But like I think for me, when I started buying these things and, like I think what hooked me in initially was like the potential, right? Like obviously there's a lot of people making money. Obviously I love sports. I know you're a diehard NBA fan. I was more a little bit of a casual NBA fan. I followed the sport because I follow all sports, but obviously there's a lot of people that got super, super into the NBA because they became collectors, right? And they got entrenched with the Top Shot community, which is just amazing. But I think the community is one of the things that really like made me bullish on it long term. Like seeing how passionate people were about, getting these packs and trading and selling and how much activity there was. And like, the clubhouse spaces at the time, before Twitter Spaces was even around, right? Like people were meeting on a daily, every other day basis, like talking about what's going on in Top Shot. So that was one of the things that got me super, super excited. But I was probably a little bit more on the opposite end, on the risk taking side of you. It's like when I started going big into it and buying a lot of stuff, and it's crazy, like getting in March 1st, like everything was at the top. My first moment ever that I purchased was a Devin Booker 15K for $125. It's $6 right now, right? But like I learned, I put stops on them and I sold at 25% losses. So I had the dapper and I kind of reevaluated times here and there. But anyways, yeah, you just kind of learn the lessons like that. And what I did was I'm a total nerd. So I have a spreadsheet with every single buy, sell transaction pack. I averaged out the pack if it's a common moment, if it's a rare moment. 2,700 transactions over the past year. It's like bought all these, sold these for a challenge. I have just like the day that I bought, the day that I sold, and partly, for tax purposes, but also kind of just good to study and see where I'm at, like long term. Like, wow, put a good amount of money into Top Shot, right? And basically even, or basically down, or basically up. So I do that, but it's crazy stuff. Every single person has their own unique journey when they got on the roller coaster of Top Shot and how they're doing. But I think the most important thing is just to love the collection that you have, and that evolves over time. So that's one of the things that excites me. But let's talk a little bit, like, why'd you end up starting a YouTube channel? How'd you get into that?
I have no idea. It's not like me at all. Basically, what happened was, when this was happening, I had like several of my other friends that I had mentioned before, some of the basketball guys from university that, were also tech guys or whatever. And I was looking at this, and then I was telling them, like, there's no way that like people don't want content for this. And there's no way people don't want analytical stuff for this.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I was like, guys, you should like think about this if you guys want to do some sort of like startup style thing. And then within like a half hour of research, I found like Evaluated Market. There was, who else was around at that time? There was like, I don't know if
First Man.
No, but I was thinking more analytic stuff. So it was more the chart stuff. But I found like, 2 or 3 that were still around. Or that were already around at the time. I don't think On the Moment had launched their site yet. They just had their pod or whatever. And I was just like, oh yeah, no, they're already there. And because I was also like, and then like people would want content around that. And then I was just like, and I was just looking or whatever. And, I was searching on YouTube. And at the time, there wasn't YouTube videos that much. Jen Sudo had her channel. She was doing her like recaps and stuff that was like big at the time. And then everything else was like live shows, podcasts, like it was all long form stuff.
Yep.
And I felt that like there was just like kind of this hole there. And I don't know, I guess it must have been like because of lockdown. Like, and I was working in person because I'm a teacher, but like most people were still just at home or whatever, didn't have much time. So I was just like, you know what, like I'm going to put a video together. So I put a video together and then I sent it to like my friends, like in the group chat. And like some of them clicked it, some of them didn't. And then one of them clicks it and goes, oh my God, I didn't know. I thought you were just sending us a video. I didn't know you made it. Because it's like, I'm super reserved as a person. Like I'm an introvert. Like, so putting myself out there is not like who they would guess. They would ask their girlfriends. If you had to guess out of my friends who had done this, I was always on like the end of the list and stuff. So, and then it did okay. And then I made another one the next day. And, it was like my spring break as a teacher coming up, and I had some time. So I made like a couple videos every, like, maybe 3-4 that week. And I had basically put these kind of like milestones in my head. Like, okay, like if I get 100 views, I'll make another one. If, I get this many subscribers by then. And I basically told myself like, okay, if I think it was something like 500 subscribers by the end of the month, I'll keep going.
Yeah.
And then I was at 1,000 before the like month was over. And I
Wow.
was just like, I guess I'm going to continue doing this. But like in my mind, at the end of my week off, I was likely going to be stopping. And I was also like doing this like without like my girlfriend knowing. So I'd only film when she wasn't home and stuff because like I
Yeah.
was in the like living room. So like, I don't know, it just like kind of started to roll and I just was like hooked. And it was like, I was going to be spending as much time like analyzing and looking at all the Top Shot stuff and consuming Top Shot
Anyways, right?
itself anyways.
Yeah.
It's just I added all this time of, making videos and that stuff. And like, I mean, then I used to do my videos in like one take. There was like zero editing, like,
Yeah.
and because I didn't know I didn't do that before and everything. So like now a video takes me like way longer to do. And I've invested all this other time in it. And each video I spend so much more time on now. But at the time, it wasn't adding too much more out of my time because like anyone who was in Top Shot at that time was completely addicted. Like
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
like you were consuming Top Shot the entire day, no
right.
matter what, and waiting for that notification for a stress test at 1 a.m. and all that stuff. So I still look back, I'm like, I don't know how I ended up here really. Like I didn't have a Twitter account before Top Shot, like a
Wow.
personal one. Like I never had a Twitter account until I made one for this channel. And I never thought I would ever be on Twitter,
That's
let
crazy.
alone know what Discord is or any of that stuff. But like, I was like, no, I'll never have a Twitter account. Like I don't see any, and like,
That is funny, man. I mean, we have similar stories aside from the fact that you got to 1,000 subscribers in a month and it took me like 6. But we have very similar stories. And the fact that like I wouldn't consider myself an introvert necessarily, but more so like on the private side, like I was doing it undercover too. And I was engaged at the time. So it was my fiance. And when I told her, like, maybe like a month before our wedding, she's like, started laughing like uncontrollably. Like, she's like, "What? You hate social media?" I'm like, "Well, YouTube's not social media, you know?" She's like, "Yes, it is." And I was like, "Well, you know what? Like, it was kind of the same thing to you. For me, it was like one of my motivations was that being that I joined in like at the top, right? And I got crushed so hard. I'm like, this sucks. And it is so lonely, right? Being a collector by myself. Like, I got lucky enough to get a holo pack, and my first holo pack was the one where they cut it down to $250. Like, I had never gotten like a rare pack. Like, I was getting destroyed in the pack drops. I got a Seeing Stars pack. And then like nothing, like super discouraging. Right. And I finally got one. I was like, you know what? I'm going to post up a video because I am 100% determined to turn my negative 80% ROI, like to get back into the green, like, and there's people out there that are like me that can, like that got crushed too. And they're probably feeling down and that like, like we can work through this together and we can claw through and be scrappy. And, in a year from now, just like if a stock portfolio is down, if you believe in it long term in the community like I do, like we're gonna be, we can be all right. So that was one of my motivations too. But it's like, I just started doing screen recordings. Like I did them all in one take too. It's like I'm gonna be doing this anyways. Let's talk 10 minutes about what I think is going on right now, and then post it up. And yeah, and then the channel started, and then the community became real for me. Like that was starting the channel was like a pivotal moment for me in Top Shot because I wasn't doing it alone anymore at that point. I had one friend that was in the fraternity in college that I hadn't talked to in like 4 years, and I saw him on a Clubhouse space, and I picked up the phone. I was like, "Yo, you're in Top Shot," and like we started talking back and forth, texting back and forth, like pack drop today. What do you think about this? So that was super fun. I had one person, and then he got really busy with work, balling out, doing his thing in real estate. And like kind of dropped off a little bit, and it was just me. And I'm like, okay, posting a YouTube video. So that was like my first pivotal moment in like as a creator and as a collector too. Do you have anything that jumps out for you? Like, what was your next pivotal moment? I know we already talked about how you started the channel, but are there any other ones that jump out at you over the past year that are like, that was pivotal for me?
There's a couple, I guess, from a like creator standpoint. When I started collaborating with John Boy Beats. That was pretty big. Just because like he's like a good friend now too. Like I talk to him daily, and like that's another thing that like especially my girlfriend always laughs at, that like I've made all these friends, and she calls them my internet friends and makes fun of me and everything. But so like collaborating with him and just us bouncing ideas off each other all the time in our DMs and everything, and you know, starting the like regular stream with him has been like just a different like outlet as well. Like it's like, you know, a lot more casual than, you know, you're making a video that's, you know, trying to be just informative. Whereas that's more like, you know, we're kind of hanging out, we're giving information. Sometimes it's more for fun, sometimes it's not. So it's just like a different kind of release in a different way from a, I guess, creative standpoint. So that's probably like pretty pivotal from a creative standpoint, is just collaborating with him. Also, you mentioned Steve, and you know, he like I remember him starting when, you know, he first put out a couple of videos, and you know, he had like 100 followers or whatever, and then just watching him grow and us, you know, starting to talk all regularly. And again, didn't think I'd be making a friend in Australia at the, you know, a year ago. If you told me that, I'd be like, what are you talking about? But, you know, just, and him kind of pushing me to change like my production as well. Just being like, okay, like, you know, I was just like a little screen record with a picture in the corner until, you know, he started to push me to, you know, change things. And just having that person, I think, was really important to me too, because we both, you know, eventually our channels were similar size and everything. And it was that making content for Top Shot or anything like this, your channel is dependent on the sentiment in the product as well. So, you know, when Top Shot is down, you know, all you can be making your best video ever, but your video is going to be down. And just having someone to talk about that with and be like, yo, are your numbers down too? You know, and it's just like, it became predictable for us. But at the beginning, like having that reassurance, I think, was important, because it can get very draining to do this when you're doing it on the side, especially. And I think, I'm sure you can relate to that. You know, there's not every time you want to make a video, but you know that you have an idea. And the other part about making contact with Top Shot is that so little of it is evergreen. So if you try to compare it to other, you know, YouTube channels and stuff like that, it's like you're rarely going to have one of your videos from a month ago pop off. Whereas like that's what will happen to other YouTube channels, is like all of a sudden, like a video gets clicked and it gets spun into the algorithm. And then all of a sudden this channel is exploding from something that they put in, you know, the effort like months ago, and they get to reap the rewards because everything is so time constraint on this. Like we're never benefit from that. It's similar to any like investment stock type channels and stuff like that. Like again, with them, like same type of deal. So like that is like draining away. So having to be able to talk to other people creating content was definitely helpful. And Steve was a big part of that.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's so true. It's like, there's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to extrapolate on that a little bit, but for me, it's like, people are like, why don't you just like, you know, send, you know, go on Upwork and have somebody cut your videos for you. Like, you know, pay them $10 or $15 to do it, like save you time. It's like, I don't know. I just cut the videos and get it out, 'cause they need to be out like now. You know, it's like people are like, they want to see the content that's relevant at the right time, because a flash challenge is a flash challenge, you know. But that's amazing, man. I mean, Steve is obviously, like, all of you guys were, you know, partial motivation for me to start the channel too. Like I saw what you guys were doing and helping people out, and I was like, you know, I want to be doing that kind of stuff too. And I remember reaching out to Steve and commenting on one of his videos, and I think he came onto my channel as the 50th episode. So I still keep in touch with him, you know, check in with him once every couple of weeks or so. But great guy, and I'm so excited that he's with Top Shot now. But I don't think I've met I definitely have not met John Boy Beats. I've had a little bit of interaction with him on Twitter, and I've seen, you know, you guys do a couple things. But when did you start chatting it up with him, and when did you guys start doing your thing? The streaming is pretty awesome. I think I'm hoping that can be something that I expand into a little bit more too, because I'm, you know, like you said, the more personal, casual side of things is is probably a cool release to get out there. And I just really traditionally suck at technology. So like I just got a second screen like a month
Man,
ago.
I'm still rocking one screen, and every time I'm streaming,
No
I'm
way.
like, man, I need to, but
Oh man,
because like
get one on Craigslist or
I
something,
know.
like $100, dude. Like it is a game changer, you know, like I think I did 9 months with just like, I would pull up my screen and I was just like on StreamYard, right? So I was just like looking at my pack and I couldn't even see my own face.
Yeah. Yeah, no, every time I share screen on stream or anything, I'm not of it. It's like a spacing. I also need to upgrade my computer. Like when I render a video, it can take like an hour, and I'm just like, like that's sometimes where I'm like, oh, like okay, now I have to wait an hour before I can then upload it and everything. So it's just like the
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
and everything with that. But yeah, definitely. But the story with John is funny and also embarrassing. So when Cool Cats 3 was coming out eventually, and we were speculating on what the extra moments were going to be for the challenge.
Yeah.
He had a free spreadsheet out, and someone posted like that spreadsheet in, but I didn't know who it came from or anything. And in that spreadsheet, the 5 moments that ended up being correct, the cold country players, their circulation count was way low. And he had his circulation count spreadsheet, and there's just 5 random moments that were super low because they didn't expect anyone to notice. But basically what was their thought process was, when the Cool Cats packs came out, they were like overloaded in those moments. So what the purpose was is that a bunch of people were going to pull these moments, and if they're going to pull these moments, they're going to be able to use them in the challenge part,
Okay.
like along with it.
Yeah.
But what happened is like people noticed. So John had already put this out on Twitter. I didn't follow him on Twitter at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was. Someone sent me the spreadsheet, but then I made a video, and a couple other people, I think Fleo made a video on it as well, because he was in the same thing that was shared with me. And those moments like took off, and I didn't credit John in the video because, and like, I was like, oh man. And then he DM'd me and he's like, yo man, if you're going to use my stuff, can you at least give me a shout out or whatever? And I was like, damn, I'm the biggest asshole. Like, geez. But then like his next message to me was like, man, I watch your videos and like, we think about the market similarly. I would love to like collaborate and like talk on stuff or whatever. And like, since that day, we've DM'd probably like, I don't know, like 90% of the days since that day. Awesome. But like he 100% could have just been like, F this guy. Like, he's just like stealing my shit or whatever. And like, I normally credit, I don't know why I didn't credit him. Like I normally like would tag, like evaluate market, like on the moment, like everything. And I don't know why I didn't, but he could have took that completely the opposite way. And then since then we became friends. I like brought him on stream to like talk about his sheets and stuff. And like, it was supposed to be like kind of like a one-time guest or whatever. And then he's like, man, I'm down to do this regularly if you want. So then like, we just started a weekly stream with that. And then obviously he's blown up to like crazy proportions since then. But yeah, so it was me being an ass basically. And him being super nice is why we ended up, collaborating with each other.
Oh, that's awesome, man. No, that's so funny. I'm sure that's some stuff like that when you're just like making organic videos, like it slips your mind, right? So I don't blame you for missing it. You know, like sometimes what I usually do is I usually just pull up their Twitter or like their tweet and like the names on there, right? You know, like I go I think I've done it a couple times with like Brandon. And just be like, oh yeah, Brandon from Moment Ranks, or now he's at Top Shot. But like, you know, he said this, I thought it was really cool. And it's just like the tweet. And it just makes it easier for me too, because it's like, it's just right there for people to see, you know. Exactly. But I get it. You know, that's awesome that you guys have become friends through that. And yeah, he puts out some good stuff too. So I've been following your takes and his takes, and you know, like everyone throughout the community. It's fun. I've done a couple collabs now, but it's been a long time. So hopefully I can start doing some more stuff like this, and just, because the community is awesome. I think one of the pivotal moments for me too is like, I had a Twitter. I created one in high school. I think I had like 100 people following, like old high school classmates, like I wanted to be live tweet a game once in college. And I was just like, being an idiot on Twitter at one time, or like I would use it to complain to Southwest about like, customers, like whatever. And probably like a 30 lifetime tweets. And now just like one of the subscribers of my channel, actually, shout out Real K Smith, he's like, bro, like you need to be on Twitter. Like that's where it's at for Top Shot. That's where it's at for NFT. I'm like, okay, why not? Like I like Twitter because you could just say whatever you want. And, even if you put out 100 tweets a day, you're most likely not going to annoy people because they're not going to really see it all. And if they do, they can just unfollow you. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's
the
more
whole
like
Twitter thing. I still don't get it. And like that whole other algorithm type thing going on. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm still shocked just that, I have that many people following me or whatever, but it's wild to kind of, like I've known about all this stuff. I never thought I would spend as much time on Twitter and stuff. Now I spend almost no time on Instagram. And it was like, I know you post stuff to Instagram and TikTok and stuff, but like I was doing Instagram a little more at the beginning. I do it a little less and kind of pick my spots more just because that's not where the community is. I think there's definitely an opening there to eventually like, it's going to be all over the place. Right. But just right now it's just like Twitter, Discord is like where it's at. And I would argue Discord less so now. It's kind of like everyone just finds their own community on Discord. And the big one is now is Twitter is where like the whole community is, knowing of course there's some people that aren't there that are just, we have our own little bubble going on there.
Yeah, for sure. One last thing before we talk about, like some collecting stuff is that like, it's popped into my mind a couple of times. I think I lost my train of thought on it once, but back when you were talking about, like your milestones, right? Like if I hit 500 subscribers, I'll keep going. Like, then you get to the point, right, where it's like, if you don't put out a video, like you're leaving those people behind, right? Like I can't even imagine now at this point, like, just not having a channel anymore, like throwing in the towel because like the community that we've built is, it's meaningful to us, right? It's like, you're not just going to leave those 500 or 1,000 people high and dry, or, now you're at north of 5,000 and I'm getting close to 3. So it's like, it's not even a question anymore, where we never thought we would start a channel, both of us. Now it's just part of what we do. So that's pretty cool.
It's wild. It's just like, sometimes I'm just like, damn, I wish I had more time to do it. Cause like I'll have these ideas, but like we talked about earlier, like an idea comes and goes with time. Right. And some of the times I'm like, well, I'm glad I didn't put that out because that actually wouldn't have been that good of a video. But then other times I'm like, damn, like I had like 3 video ideas this week, but I had time to make 0 of them. So I didn't do it. So it's, I don't know where this thing will go, but it's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Have you had any pivotal moments as a collector? Like, tell me about where you're at as a collector right now. Like, I know you're a big Raptors fan, right? Like I think you're making your way up on that Raptors leaderboard. You got a big Raptors team score. Like, what's your collection at? Have you had any big pivotal moments? And I think maybe we can even combine it into, let's talk about that first. Yeah. What are those pivotal moments? Where are you at right now, kind of temperature check, and what are you excited for to collect on Top Shot?
Yeah. So as a collector, I guess I had a couple pivotal moments. I was always looking, like I'm a big proponent. And one thing I've always said is just like extract utility when you have it. And then I always like, it wasn't about making money. It was always about being able to buy other things that you wanted or buy back the stuff you still want. And then have that extra money to expand what you want. I always wanted Raptors moments. And this is probably the most pivotal thing for me as a personal collector, but I never felt like I was going to be rewarded for owning them until Collector Score came along. And once the team bonus hit, for me personally, my account like clicked. And that was when, okay, like I'm going to complete the Raptors S2. I'm going to eventually complete the full team, and I'm going to stack for my Collector Score. And whenever there's ebbs and flows and dips in my account, I'm never looking at a Raptors moment and that mad that I have it.
Right.
And that has been like super helpful for me to like get through the ups and downs, is that, like the fact, the fact that just S2 like floor moments, like there's a purpose to them.
Yep.
And that was like very pivotal from a just like my account and everything. I hit on the holo, so I built up my collector score and hit on
Nice.
the $230 holo.
Nice.
So that was like
who'd you pull on that one?
Who did I pull? I pulled a Kuzma.
Nice.
98 out of 99. I traded that Kuzma for a CJ McCollum 98 out of 99.
Nice.
I sold that CJ to buy a Fred VanVleet holo.
Nice.
The Fred VanVleet holo I got to sell during the Curry Challenge.
Nice.
Flipped it into a better cereal and $600 profit. And then I have my one holo moment there. So it was like quite a ride to get from point A to point B. But I also pulled a Jokic MGLE in that. So that's where I really did well at the time. And he was maybe in the LeBron MGLE challenge. No, he didn't have a MGLE
He
challenge.
was
I don't
in
know
LeBron. He was in LeBron.
But for Series 2?
Yep, because I completed it. I got a very similar story to you. I want to bounce it off. First of all, that gets me fired up because that's what I'm all about, dude. Like using what you have to trade up and build your collection the way that you want it to be is what I am all about here. And I know that's what you're all about too on your channel. So it's like, I want to help people build the most profitable collection. And I'm always about, first of all, having a collection that you really love. Second of all, like, yeah, there's no shame in taking profits and reinvesting them in or pulling money out, you know, like it's all your own hard-earned money. Like you collect how you're going to want to, but I pulled that same holo pack as you, right? I pulled a Michael Porter Jr. That was my first ever legendary, right? It kind of taught me a lesson of like, you know, the liquidity of legendaries and how the market moves so much differently there than it does with commons or rares. You know, and I ended up selling the Michael Porter Jr. And I think one other thing to get the Devin Booker Legendary Finals, which is Devin Booker is one of my favorite players, like for sure, like top 3 favorite players in the league. I just love D-Book. And that's still in my collection, you know, and I think the price point at the Porter Jr. that I sold was 1,100, bought the Booker for 1,325. And now it's selling, you know, it went up north of 3,000. Now it's at 1,900, you know, it's like, and that's, I don't even look at selling that, you know, it's for me, I bought it for a purpose. It's one of my favorite players. I think he's a young and rising star. I think he's going to have lasting power in the league. And it's his first ever trip to the finals. I think he'll be an NBA champion one day. So I love that. And that's, you know, I don't think about selling that, but I also pulled the Jokic MGLE in that same pack. And that's actually one that I still have in my collection. That's one of the ones that I haven't sold. And I would have sold it for $1,000 in that LeBron challenge, but I completed the LeBron challenge and I still hold that. That's like the biggest challenge that I've ever completed. And yeah, I still hold a LeBron MGLE from Series 2 over Steph. But yeah, man, it's funny how
similar story.
I like that. Yeah.
But yeah, for my collection, kind of like going forward, I guess what like I think the live token leaderboards kind of like double down that I like what I'm doing, I guess. Not that it's the right way. I think just that it like reassures me that that's something that will be, you know, rewarded eventually or whatnot. We see with the rising stars, some have already been rewarded. It makes us, I still love your theory and we'll mention you every time with the team set, the rare team set. If they airdrop that to the leaderboards, I think that's a great use case for them. I still kind of look at where I am on that leaderboard and based on like my collection and my financial situation, and you know, there's some big whales in the Raptors streets, so I try to stay top 50 just in case, because I, you know, if they ever do it's way too far for me to get like top 25, top 10, you know, top 5, anything like that. I was like, maybe like when they came out, I was around in the 70s to 80s already. And I was like, okay, I could, like, it's not that far to 50. So I grinded my way to like 50 a couple different times. And the reason I think I would have probably been around 50, but when there was the Chris Bosh challenge, I sold a bunch of my Raptors floors and then I had to rebuy them and it took forever. But that was, that's kind of like where I've looked at. And then I started this a lot in Series 2. When the Series 2 MGLEs were dipping, I just bought all the Raptors ones, and that's just like kind of like where financially I could be, kind of is like I can probably get all the Raptors MGLEs every year, except for like certain exceptions with rookies,
Nice.
maybe would be the ones that I couldn't get. So I did that. I've sold some with the different flash challenges. So that's kind of like going to be, I think, a goal of mine collecting is like kind of have the Raptors MGLEs every year. I don't expect to be able to get legendary Raptors every year ever. But I think that that's something I can strive for. And, you know, with the collector score bonus and everything, they're decent, to adding to, you know, the team leaderboard and all that. So I had all 5. I think I don't have the Gary Trent right now. And then of the current Raptors, I completed the Scotty challenge. And that's the
Nice.
biggest challenge
Congrats.
I've ever done. And
That's
it's the
awesome.
only time I've done a challenge where I was like really amped to open that challenge reward. Like, you know, I did all the Rising Stars this year, but I was very anti-challenge.
Yeah.
Like in the past years, I was like, doing
Oh.
challenges is wrong. Like,
Oh yeah.
sell the pump, buy it all after. Like I'd been screaming that on my challenge forever.
Yeah.
And I think the first challenge is, I think I did one of the cool cats, like maybe the Fred Van Vliet or one of
Yeah.
those like late cool cats where they're just kind of tossing them in there at the end, with all the commons. And then I did a couple playoff ones, like I really like that John Collins when
Yeah.
he put it on a t-shirt right after. I
Nice.
like the Kawhi one, and those ended up being profitable just because of the market at the time. And then this Scotty one was like the biggest one where I went and, you know, threw down a lot of Dapper to buy like the Jaw, which now is like sitting nice because of all that speculation. But
yeah. Dude, nice. Well, congrats on that, Scotty. He's awesome. He's so much fun to watch, man. He's good pick by the Raps. I mean, yeah, no, I'm kind of the same way. Like I've gotten burned on a ton of challenges. Not a lot of it ever made, you know, like some of them just don't make sense, but some of it is worth the risk for me. You know, like I did the LeBron one. I think the timing was right for me to do it. I owned that Gary Trent Jr. and sold it for like a 50% loss or something like that, you know, like back in the day. You know, like I did the Steph one. I didn't buy, you know, like you know, I didn't want to buy like the Buddy Hield or the Van Vliet. I love Tatum too, so I ended up going after his Deck the Hoops, but I didn't care about collector score at all, like early on for me, because I didn't even know what it was. Like I would always be like, you know, like everyone would be commenting in the comment section, like, what's this collector score? Like, what do you think collector score wise? I would be like, I don't know, go listen to Top Shot Talk. You know, that's where I learned about collector score, you know? But once the Deck the Hoops Series 3 pack, or series, was it this most recent one?
yeah, Series 3. Yeah.
Series 3. That came out. There's a massively high, like, collector score that you needed to get into that priority queue. And I wanted to do that. So I'm like, you know, and admittedly, like, look, I growing up, I grew up in the Bay Area, and that was like the Warriors We Believe years. And I went to some games, but I wasn't like a big time basketball guy. I was more like San Francisco Giants, Niners, Sharks. And, you know, like I told myself, like when I went to college, I was like, I want to move to LA or New York, you know? So like I need a basketball team to rep like my town that ends up being like my long-term home. So I'm like, either going to move to LA and be a Laker fan or move to New York and be a Knicks fan. I ended up in LA. So I'm actually a Laker fan, but I mean, like Booker is one of my favorite players. CP3 is one of my favorite players. And I like really looking forward to like maybe potential IRL stuff or airdrop type stuff from being on a team leaderboard. And there was a point where I was just like, I'm gonna be a Suns fan on Top Shot because I am a fan of the Suns. You know, like when I came to that point, I needed to do a team set because I already had the Legendary Finals Booker and I had the Challenge Award Legendary Finals CP3. That was my top moment. So collector score wise, it made the most sense to go after that team set. And, you know, with the introduction of the challenge boards, and I have really close friends in Scottsdale. It's only a, you know, 45-minute flight here from LA. You know, I was like, I'm going to, you know, we'll see, you know, like, and I don't know if that's going to be my long-term, like I've always kind of, you know, now that it's transitioning a little bit back to maybe a spend-based reward, while still, when I had Jacob on, he was like, like we want to honor a spend-based reward and also honor the people who have collected in the collector score way with a team set. So they've always been really thoughtful with that. So I'm still kind of trying to figure out where I'm going to be on, that sunset. And they've been super fun to watch. And they're like, I love that team. Like, that just the way that they play is awesome. But, like I could see myself getting rid of the Barbosa Series 1 at some point and, trading it in for like this upcoming season's Booker Hollow or, maybe hopefully a legendary finals again or something like that, but my thing is like, I want to hopefully trade into more rares, a couple more legendaries, like build up the top part of the collection. And I think, just get those ones, get their hands on the ones that are going to last you forever. And then also add like, for me going forward, the most memorable things about basketball, like collecting history is like super important to me. It's like that Trae Young playoff moment last year, right? Mm-hmm. Like someone's first rookie moment or, Steph's record breaking 3, right? Like those moments in history that you can have and say that you own a part of, like, I want to start doing that, like the special ones. I think outside of Series 1 and 2, Series 3 and on for me it's got to be really special for me to be in there. So that's kind of my outlook on it. I would like to add some more Lucas and some more Trays, just guys that, maybe even LaMelo Ball, more Edwards, like guys that I start to grow conviction in as like being a long-term, maybe potential Hall of Famer. That's what I like to do. But that's kind of where I'm sitting at right now and what I'm looking forward to over the next couple of years on Top Shot.
Yeah, I definitely don't do enough consolidating of my account. Yeah. I use trade tickets in the ones for packs recently, not S1s, the blended packs. And I don't know, I cashed in, somewhere between 50 and 100 and used them or whatever. And then I looked at my account and I was like, I still have like 600 or 700 moments. Like, how is this possible? But I just have not spent the time because I've been too busy recently to like sit through my account and be like, what is the purpose of having this? I need to, and like, that's the thing that I think we need to be doing more of, is looking at like, why do I have this common moment? Is there a purpose? Do I really like this moment? Is it like a sweet moment, or is it just I had it for some reason, or I got it in a pack or whatnot? And then like, is this giving me value with collector score? Is this giving me value with whatever reason? But at the same time, with these flash challenges and these random wildcards and everything, there's a lot of like, I think, seller's remorse that people are afraid of.
Yeah.
And I understand that part too. So like,
for sure.
The only good thing I think about me being lazy with my own account is that, every now and then something might pop up that like benefits me from that perspective. But likely if I consolidated those things into a rare moment, a Top Shot debut, a Series 1 or something, that when those will hit way bigger. So there's arguments for both. Still waiting to see this collector score thing and how they revamp it, and that'll change some of my decisions. And I don't know if I want to try to front run that or react with my own account.
That's a tough line to toe for sure. I'm kind of in the same boat too. It's like, I know the historical Series 1 is not going to be, like there's going to be a bonus, right? But like, it's like, do I cut losses now or do I just hang on to it for a little while and see how it goes? But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, look, it's Top Shot's doing so much, right? Like, I think Jeb put out a Twitter post the other day, and I read some, like, as much Twitter stuff as I can, but I think the gist of that one was that, like, and I think Roham said it in the spaces too. It's like, this is uncharted waters for any company in the space ever, right? Like, I think we look at NBA Top Shot and it becomes like it's easy for it to become the baseline where it should be like the impossible, like at this point, it's like NFL all day and UFC Strike came out, but like, man, I still see it way far behind Top Shot. Like, I don't know, like, I think maybe we're getting setting our expectations too high and need to be a little bit more patient on those two, because like, I mean, being in, like, a lot of people who join Top Shot now, they just see how amazing it is. They didn't see where it kind of came from, and that's, I mean, and where it came from is where we're starting with NFL and UFC. So that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see how things play out over the next year. I'm like super long-term bullish, obviously, on Top Shot and the whole community, because it's incredible. And they've done some really amazing things. So I think we owe it to each other in the community here to keep each other on board. Like, I've had a couple people DM me, and I always welcome it. It's like, if you're thinking of fire selling your whole collection and getting out of here, like, oh, talk to me. Like, just sell some stuff, take some profits, go on that vacation. Like, don't look at your account for 3 months. Like, I don't look at my account value every day anymore like I used to. It's like, it's more healthy that way in the bad times. So, but yeah, man. So as we wrap it up, man, maybe we talk just a little bit about some of the more like intangible things that you're excited about for the future of Top Shot and NFTs in the sports space. You got anything in mind?
If we're talking NFTs in general, I'm looking forward to the time where we no longer compare every NFT to each other. I think that's our biggest problem. It'd be like comparing every website or online store to each other. They're not the same.
Yeah.
And to compare, Top Shot to a PFP project, or a PFP project to, I don't know, something that is very like
a membership, like a
music based, or all like NFTs are going to just become part of our like everyday use. And whereas right now they're all viewed as an investment.
Yep.
And I think that's what's problematic, is that we compare every NFT project to each other, but really that's just like the underlying technology, and it's what you choose to do with that. And I think once that happens, not like within our own NFT community, it will benefit like the people from the outside, because if people in the community are comparing them all to each other, then that's what the people outside are going to do. And I don't think that's healthy, because it just like goes into them being like, oh, it's a scam or it's a Ponzi scheme and all that type of thing. So that's kind of like what I'm looking forward to, like when we fast forward into that time from the NFT space in general. Top Shot, like I'm just more like along for the ride at this point. Like, I don't think we're going to get rich off this. I don't think, will certain people like have amazing pulls and like benefit financially? Yes. But like, we're not all getting rich. Like that ship sailed in 2020, probably, if you were on the site in 2020. And, so I'm just more like really looking forward to see the different avenues they pursue, whether, it's the more like Flash Challenge DFS type stuff, the more like gaming, the collecting, and the in real life stuff, and how they're all going to kind of like branch out from each other.
Yep.
And it's like, I just think it's grown so much in a year that it's like hard to even think about like what another year is going to look like. And I think I think the only way you can say that you're down on Top Shot compared to like other NFTs is strictly from an investment and opportunity cost thing. But and if that's the only reason you're in it, and it has nothing to do with your fandom, or you don't enjoy the product itself and you're just looking for money, then there's probably way more opportunities in the rest of the NFT space.
For sure.
But there's also probably way more risk in that space right now too.
For sure. Yeah. Those are some really good thoughts, and I'm along similar lines too. I think that people who are in now I think that people are in now and who are liquid, have opportunity to do really well financially on Top Shots if they pick the right style of collecting. But it's still, definitely risky. Like, I would recommend, for people right now, like it's hard to recommend, I guess, like what to buy, especially on the high end, because you never know if things are going to keep slipping, because it's all about user growth, right? And an adaptation. I don't know. I kind of expected there to be a lot more users now. And like we've seen a little bit negative user growth over the past, handful of months here, where we were expecting a big rise, with this upcoming basketball season. And, everyone was kind of expecting commercial, like everything, like in stadium kiosks, commercials, like this thing's going to absolutely blow up. And it's like, let's take a step back for a little bit and think, like what reasons aren't there? Like why isn't it happening? Right. Like it's probably not ready for it, like, yeah, I think that would help the platform a lot, but would it also like, I mean, you have to be ready to grow steadily too. So it'll be interesting to see like the next generation kind of come in, like the kids who are in college right now, graduate, like college and, have some money where they start to look at investing. Some people invest in 401ks and stock market and crypto, and now NFTs are an option for them too. And there's a lot of people out there like me that like sports that, like to invest in what they're comfortable in. And, there's ways to do that. I don't expect my portfolio of Top Shot to be down 10 years from now. Otherwise, like, I'd probably just be buying like a very small fraction of what I'm buying just to have fun, like, but I do think that there's a lot of opportunity for in real life and just fun, too. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be exciting to see. I can't even, just like you, a year from now, I have no idea where we're going to be, 2 years from now is even crazier. Yeah. So that'll be fun, man. So any last thoughts, man? I want to, I'll leave it open to you, but I wanted to thank you for coming on here. And I'm going to be gifting you over a Devin Booker 15K. I like doing that on the channel. No. And like, no, 100%. It's $6, dude.
No. I want you to give that away on this video instead.
Okay, well, I'll do two. I'll give away one, and then I'll give you one.
No, you're giving away both then. No matter what, I'm not taking one from you. I want you to give away to one of your viewers here.
All right, fine.
I refuse. I'm just going to send it right back. And trust me, and Steve send stuff back and forth from each other. Back in the day when he was still collecting.
Stubborn. We just TST, man. But yeah, no, I like giving that one away. I think I gave that one away to Jennifer Pseudo because it was my first ever purchase on Top Shot. It's like, yeah, I bought that thing for $125 and now it's $6 on the marketplace, and we can laugh about it. I think I saw Disney Alex Max post the other day, and he was like, I got my dad a James Harden NFT for his birthday last year. It was $35 and now it's $4. And I was like, wow, maybe I should do that to my pops. Like buy him a $6 Devin Booker and tell him, hey, this was $125 at one point. Just never look on the market. No. Okay, we'll do a giveaway. We'll do a giveaway for a Booker of a 15K, courtesy of TST. I'll make sure to shoot that one out. But thanks for coming on, man. Any last thoughts? The floor is all yours.
Yeah, thanks for having me. First of all, keep up the great work here. Some people kind of might look at content creators as, competitors or anything, but it's really not. I really believe, that if others aren't increasing, then I have no chance, and vice versa. So keep up the great work. And the other thing I will say is I can't wait until the day comes when that rare set is delivered via leaderboards, and I can shout you out for that.
Let's go. Yeah, that's a fire up for me. I mean, what better way? People are sleeping on that.
It makes so much sense, man. It's so logical. It's team, there's one for each team. Let's use these leaderboards. Let's get these leaderboards going. That's what I really
it's hard to lose track. It's easy to lose track of the like the roadmap, right? Like that's one of the most important things. It's easy to lose track of because it's so fast moving, but like, bro, that was one of the things that stuck out to me the most of that roadmap. I'm like, that's going to be really cool. There's going to be one moment for a team moment, like they talked about it, the KD teamwork moment, like it's like maybe, this just came to my head right now. Like maybe that's a team debut, like the NFL all day.
I don't like that. I understand that they could do that and that it would make perfect sense to do it. I don't like it. Okay. I don't like I want it to belong to a player. I want it
Okay.
to still belong to a player, but I want it to be a thing. Like I want it, like I love that they're like, we're gonna do it for every team.
Yeah.
It's gonna celebrate that, but like leave all day that, like,
Yeah.
they can have their thing, I don't know, like I think that with football, like do they do those as blends too? Like are they multiple, like is it a drive or is it a
Yeah.
play usually the team one?
They
Or
mix
is
it
the
up.
team one
Some
play?
some of them are blended, I believe. Don't quote me on this. I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure, but I know like some of them are like I think the Cowboys one is like a punt block or something like that for a touchdown.
Yeah.
But I think they have a couple of blends that do like a scoring drive in there. But
Yeah, because those make a
I
lot of
think it's
sense.
cool. I think it's cool. I would love it, to spice it up with a team TSD.
I'm not super anti it, but I would choose not personally. But
Yeah.
we can't always agree on everything, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good part. We all got our own opinions for one reason or another. So awesome, man. Thanks again for coming on, man. Everyone, I'm sure everyone watching this video is already subbed to your channel, but if you're not, check out TST. We're also doing a new thing too, where we're doing NFT Guru, which has been a fun trivia night. Like it's been fun to shake that up. Like I've told you that I haven't done a ton of live streaming. That's sort of live streaming, but the trivia nights are
It's
just
solo
fun.
live streaming, so that's a tough introduction too.
Yeah.
Because solo live streaming is a whole other ball game than doing it with someone.
Yeah, man. So yeah, check that out too. I put out a video on that yesterday. And did you lock in times to be host on that, or?
I'm going to be Wednesdays going forward, and then usually one other time a week.
Nice.
Hopefully it's just Wednesday is my one for sure free night. So definitely every Wednesdays, and then at least usually one other time a week. So
nice. Awesome. Yeah. So that's fun. It's been fun being a part of that. And it's cool to see all the other like people building product around Top Shot too, like moment ranks, we got some other, like, I don't know if you've heard of In the Game, but shout out to In the Game. There's a lot of stuff that's popping up that's going to be fun to kind of.
And that kind of wraps us back up with the like where it's going to be in a year. There's going to be so many of those type of projects that we haven't even thought about.
Yeah, man.
That are going to be so cool to see the innovation in the community.
Nice. Well, it's clear we could talk about Top Shot all day, but I will let you go, man. I know we got some Elite 8 games today. Those are going to be fun to watch. I know you're a big Duke fan, so good luck to them. You are a Duke fan, right? If you move your head, is there a Duke jersey back there?
No, I got my NFT All-Star game up, but there used to be hanging there a couple of JJ Redick and Quinn Cook. So
dope. Nice, man. All right, I'm gonna cut the recording, and then maybe we could just wrap up for a minute before we send off. All right.